Welcome back to the Tul World podcast. I'm your host, David Jew, and I'm here with Master Jew.
Hello, Mr. Jew.
Hello. All right, this week we're covering slow motion techniques. And my question for you is, how are the slow motion techniques should be performed? And the bigger question is, should there be a snap at the end of them? Right? And what do I mean by snap is like, as it's coming out, it's coming out, and at that last little second you go, and it kind of speeds up, and then you hold it, right? Or do I just go constant, or maybe accelerating, and then it just places out there, right?
Or you could just have a super heavyweight uniform, and when you finish it snaps.
There you go, yeah.
Someone asked me about those uniforms.
Yeah.
I had one of those. Mm-hmm. They were awesome. You just walk around and snap.
Yeah.
Crackle pop.
Yeah. All right, so let's go through slow motion itself.
Well, that
first.
brings me up, and that brings up sidetracked here.
Uh-huh.
Why is the uniform, what is it, 60-40?
Yeah.
General Che said that, if you can create the snap with the lightweight material, then you've got the speed.
Oh, okay.
That helps with the power.
Right. Oh,
right?
Okay.
So we don't want to artificially make that sound.
Right.
Not saying that you don't have power with a heavyweight uniform.
Right.
It's easier. It's easier to make a little snap.
Oh, I see.
It is cool.
Right.
And that's true though, right? That snapping sound, when you listen to somebody, you're watching them, and their hand is just kind of going out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't create that snap, right?
Okay. Right.
Oh, I'm trying to demonstrate that on this podcast.
Yeah.
But the guys online that are just listening, I hope they heard that.
Well, your
Probably
microphone
not.
was really close to your hand, so maybe they might have heard something.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So your question is, I teach it with snap. I guess the question would be, what is slow motion? And I have to say this, as I was at a seminar with Grandmaster Nichols, and he talked about slow motion, and it made so much sense to me, but never really described that way. And so what was it? Techniques, whether it's slow, regular, or fast, have to be performed the same. What is the purpose of the slow motion anyway? It's actually not something you would do in self-defense. You wouldn't go slow motion and punch, or slow motion and block somebody, right? And so that's really more like a drill for eye, hands, feet coordination.
Yeah.
Eyes, hands, foot, breath. One of the training secrets of Taekwondo.
Right.
But he said that techniques should still be performed the same. So in other words, it's got to go from 0 to, let's say if you're punching, it goes from 0 to 100 miles per hour.
Okay.
It's accelerating.
Right.
And so slow motion should actually be the same, although it might go from 0 to 50 miles per hour versus 0 to 100 miles per hour.
Right.
So it still has to simulate the actual motion of the technique itself, right? As opposed to a constant motion. Of course, we have students that do constant motion of techniques.
Right.
Even when it's fast. But then you don't have the speed to really destroy something, break boards or whatever. And then the other thing too is that one of the things about when you block or strike is that you need to go 1 inch deep to your target, whether you're punching or blocking. You have to go 1 inch deep, and then you have to jerk the hip back, which jerks the hand back, which would cause that snapping motion, very much similar to, let's say, a whip. I wouldn't just flop the whip out there. I would throw it out there and then quickly jerk it back, and that creates that snap. And so if I'm simulating technique, then I think you still need to simulate that. That's kind of the reason why I teach it that way.
Oh, okay.
Just makes sense to me that way.
Right.
I mean, it's not just for looks. When we do certain things, I want to try to apply it so that how does it work in real life? Or self-defense or something in that matter.
So is it wrong to not have the snap at the end?
That depends on the instructor, I guess.
Yeah.
If I was an umpire, will I judge differently? Again, judging is subjective. That's why you want to have an IIC, so that everyone's on the same page. If the top guy says, no snap,
then we do no snap.
then there's no snap.
Right.
The problem, though, is that you do still have different high-ranking instructors teaching it slightly different.
Right.
And so what is the official word, right? And so you could have all of these different qualified instructors in a way, but it could be different.
Right.
Right? I'm not saying mine's right or wrong. I'm just saying that it could be slightly different.
Yeah.
And as a whole, maybe everything is correct, but then there's got these little
Differences.
differences.
Between it, yeah.
And what I just said, someone's going to say, oh, no way, that's not right. That doesn't make any sense. And then how I explain it, I don't know. It seems like it makes sense to me, but then that's the way I teach it.
Right.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I think that it has to come from somewhere.
Right, and the problem that you got is that this is General Che's work.
Right.
And so, but General Che's not here, so
then
it becomes an interpretation of all the people that have trained with him.
Right.
Like, and how long ago was that? I forgot.
Right.
As I recall.
Well, that's why you have like different groups, and they train directly under him, but then they go, mine's right, I worked with him more, right?
Right.
And so, but I think overall, I mean, you can have very qualified people, but eventually it has to come from somewhere.
It does. Yeah.
You can't just discuss about it all the time. You know, you can have a discussion with the board, and then they decide, or the high ranks of that organization, they decide it, right?
So some people don't want to go with the...
But that's why I'm part of this organization, right? Yes, I could have
even if you are part of the organization, you're still going to have some dispute sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Well, I think like, you know, if you have 1 to 3 people teaching an IAC, the ideas are all coming together from the same people, and I think that's important. When you're getting your seminars and you're learning from one source, 1 to 3 sources, 1 to 5, right? Just stay in line with everything that's said, right? Whether or not you agree or not with it, right?
Well,
but it's important because that you know what is coming.
No,
right?
I think you're right. I think there's so much detail in Taekwondo that you can't have a seminar where everyone's sitting down and would agree with that. Because if you look at like IICs, there are some detail work, but then in general, it's pretty general, right?
Yeah.
They don't necessarily talk about intermediate hand position, or they don't really go into those kind of detail work sometimes. And then I think that, like I said, if I was watching someone in competition as an umpire, how would I judge that? That person had that snap, the other person didn't. For me, I'm going to vote for the person that had the snap because of my beliefs in that sport, right?
Right.
But I think that to make it square and fair for everybody, because not every instructor goes to competition, and so they'll teach what they think is the best. But maybe for international competition or a competition in general, these are the rules. When we do slow motion, there is no snap. That's it.
Right.
Or these are the rules, and for slow motion, there is a slight snap.
Yeah. Now, I think one of the interesting things too is that, like if you look at like WT patterns or Pumse, right? I think they do have forms, whatever you want to call them. I actually think they have what they call like sport Pumse.
Right.
And
I don't watch that too much.
No, from people in WT, they say, well, it's not super exciting. It actually ends up looking all the same because I think they're very exact on what they're looking for, right? And then I was watching this video. It was like, world champion 2018, Asia champion like 2022. And they were competing against each other, and they looked like the exact same to me, right? And
that can be the same with us.
That can be happening with us too, right? But I think that, yeah, if you're very distinct on exactly what you want in it, it does become number one, like a sport, right? And then number two, you just end up having a lot of people that look the same.
Right.
Right? And I wouldn't say that's super exciting.
Yeah. We don't want a clone of each of us?
No. But I think that's just my own observations of what I've heard too. But maybe that's not true.
Brings up a question I have is like, when you watch other martial art, do they do any kind of a snap when they do slow motion?
Well, when you watch like karate, no, they don't.
It's just, they don't even have a slight jerk.
No,
they just go out.
Right.
See, this doesn't make sense to me. Why would I even practice that?
Developing your body.
I mean, so for me, I'm just saying for me, right? I'm doing something slow, And sometimes I do the demonstration. I'll do it slow, and then I hit the target, and I hit them, and you can see them jolt back a little bit.
Yeah.
It's because I gave them that kind of like that 1-inch punch. It didn't have that full acceleration.
Right.
Kind of an idea. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, let us know your guys' thoughts on slow motion. As always, don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Take one.